Hey, it's Dr. J. How you going? So I'm a little bit behind time. We had a bit of a technical difficulty. So the internet actually didn't want to play games. But we're here now, 5 minutes behind. So I'll make sure that I go a little bit more, let's say, more quickly today. So I hope you had a great day. And my goodness gracious, hasn't the year disappearing on us? It's nearly February. And the football will be starting soon. And it's into March. And then we're all good to go. Hello, Kylie. How you going? Good to see you. Thanks for popping on. We'll wait for a few of the other guys to hop on today because we've got a big session today, and I've got a couple of little announcements to make as well because I've got a couple of surprises and get your feedback about some bits and pieces too. Mr. Brossman, how you going? Good to see you. All the superstars are on here, so please say hi when you come on because I like to say hello, and everyone else can see who's in there as well. So that would be great if you just say hi, where you're from. And we can actually start connecting. Remember, we want to make sure that we have a bit of connection going on. And Christina, how you going? Good. How's everything going at the studio? Got those big rocks out of the way? Hope so. And Kylie, how's that physiotherapy KPIs going? Have you put them into place? I hope so. And if you want to talk about it, give me a buzz because it's a little bit different. Physiotherapists are a little bit different, and it's like chiropractors as well. So if you want to have a bit of a chin wag, you've got my number. All right. Hello, Karen. Great. I actually found your email today. So thank you so much for sending that through. And I just want to start today on a couple of thank yous as well. Okay. What was that, Christina? Good. And hot working on the rocks. Good on you. Well done. And, oh, look at all the superstars. Cassandra Hill. Hello. Good to see you. Oh, that's a marketing genius. You and Steve Brossman should be connecting, Cassandra. So that would be a formidable team. My goodness gracious. Look, got a big day ahead of us for tonight. I want to go through and firstly welcome all the new members. We've had an influx. I've got to put my welcome in there for you all, but welcome to the Impactors tribe. And I must say, we've got some fantastic people taking some awesome action. And thanks for the private messages you're sending me and telling me about some of your wins. Put them in and tell everyone else about your wins because wins are really important to actually inspire the other people. So if you get a couple of wins and something that's really going well for you, please put it in the group so we can actually share with your celebration. And if you've got any challenges, put a challenge with a solution. And we'll see if we can come up with some ideas for you. We've got some amazing people here. Emma, good to see you. Anne-Marie. Oh, all the superstars are here today. So I was a little bit late myself, Marie. So I had a bit of a technical hitch. So all good to go. All right. Very good. All right. Well, firstly, I've got an announcement to make. I'd like to have a big welcome to Claudia to the Impact Training Team. She's going to be working with us now on some projects with us. She's a part of our team now. So a big welcome to Claudia. We spent the afternoon together going through all the marketing. She's going to be all the marketing coordinating with us and working with some of our team and also some of our experts that help us along the way. So a big welcome, Claudia. It was great to spend the afternoon with you. We got a lot done. And I've got an announcement to make. Now, I've actually a couple of them actually on here right now. Once a month, what we're going to do is just to mix it up a little bit, have another day, probably a Thursday, where I'm going to invite a thought leader on. It'll be for a little bit of an interview and someone that's a specialist in, let's say, marketing or maybe in leadership or in some type of expertise. And they're going to bring it to us and you can ask them some questions. And we can do it quite easily on Facebook. And it'll allow you to have a little bit of a little extra along the way. And I'm sure they'll have some resources to be able to put through with you. Just be once a month. And we'll actually have probably about 4 or 5 that will have regular little segments throughout the year. So you can get a little bit extra other than just the doctor. Okay, so that's pretty exciting. I spoke to a couple of really fantastic people and they suggested that, and I said that will be awesome for our tribe. So something to look forward to, and I can assure you they'll bring some great value to the crew. Next thing is I want to firstly say a couple of big thank yous. Look, you can never do it alone. You know, I can assure you that. And as you get older, you can always, you can get, well, I can do all that stuff, but you've got to reach out. And over the last 2 or 3 years, I've learned that. And to be able to reach out and say help from people that know so much more than yourself is critical. And I've got some great people around me. Just this week, I want to say a big thank you to James Short, who spent a good part of a whole afternoon going through our strategic plan and some of the exciting things which I'll announce next week. And so thank you, James. It was inspirational, and some of the outside the box thinking was fantastic. And Mr. Brossman, mate, we always have a chin wag, but I must thank you for all your help over the years, and also especially the last couple of weeks with your absolutely outside the box thinking. And Steve's actually a superstar in all of the authority blueprinting, and he's actually going to give us a gift, which I'm going to tell you about at the end of the session today, because he's going to be running a free video training online to allow you to be able to use your Facebook and to really utilize all the great tools that are available at our fingertips. And it's going to be I'm going to put a link into our group, and you can actually watch Steve in action. He'll be doing 2 days or 2 evenings, and it'll be awesome for you to have a bit of a look at, because if we don't get into video these days, the next 2 years there'll be a big change. So thank you to Steve. And also to Karen, who's on here tonight. Look, I had a bit of a chat. She's in one of my groups, and I actually asked her for some help. And I actually found the email that she sent for me today. So fantastic. HR is something that we all need to work on, and Karen is a specialist in HR. So fantastic advice, and thank you for sending me that document. And the other thing was Mr. Justin Tamset. My goodness, we had a good chat with him as well. And this guy's a leader in management, and is also very, very well connected in a lot of the health and leisure. And we had a good conversation about a lot of strategies. And he's one of the guys that said he will come on and give us some of his golden nuggets as well. And last but not least is my new friend, and we just clicked so well, Alex from the Big Smoke. She's a PR expert, and she's been really helping me with her team, and I'm so grateful for her advice and also her help. See, I specialize in sales and communication, helping people make money, but these people are experts in their own field. And, I'll put my hand up because I want to make sure that we give the very best to everybody. And it's world-class or nothing as far as I'm concerned. And these guys are world-class, and they help me help you. So, guys, thank you so much. And it's absolutely fantastic to be blessed to have people like you around me. But I must say that Alex and Steve and JT and James and Karen as well just went the extra 10 miles. And Alex, you've just done a phenomenal job in helping me with the strategies, and you're a superstar with the Big Smoke. Anyone wants to media stuff, speak to Alex from the Big Smoke. She's awesome. So I just had to get it off my chest, because really at the end of the day, we sometimes forget, don't we? We sometimes forget to say thank you. And I really appreciate it. All right, let's kick some goals here. Meetings. Oh my goodness. This actually came around about 3 weeks ago. I was actually with a few of our clients, and they were having a meeting and then having another meeting, and I'm trying to get hold of people, and they're in another meeting. And I asked the question, do you enjoy your meetings? They go, oh, not another meeting. And a lot of people actually have a meeting to have a meeting. And then we have a meeting, and all of a sudden they're uninspirational, and it's sometimes they just drag on. So I wanted to give you some strategies around making sure that we don't treat a meeting just as a meeting. First thing, a meeting is a time to connect. And I keep talking about this into our group. A meeting, when you get together with some people, should be a time to connect. So you're connected with each other. Not just for work, but actually have that little bit of time in your meeting where you can actually have that little chin wag. Even though you get down to tin tacks, get a little bit early. Get there a little bit early. And it's a time to connect. Make sure you don't bring your big stick to the meeting. Sometimes it's a wake-up call, but always have a positive spin. And I actually learned from a really, really wise man and one of my mentors, Mr. Alan Parker, who I believe is the #1 negotiating trainer and NLP trainer in the world. And he says that when you go into a meeting with an agenda, work with the agenda as an experiment. Because guess what? You might have an agenda and you want an outcome, but there's always more than one way to get to the railway station. Go in there with the opportunity to say, well, this is what I want to achieve, but don't be stuck on the path, because sometimes that ego can get in the way. So have a meeting that has an experimental, look for a little bit of feedback. Whether you take the feedback or not, it's irrelevant, but make sure people can contribute. I'd like you to write that word down, contribution. Contribution in a meeting is quite critical. Sometimes there has to be a tell, and sometimes there has to be a mandate, but suggest that you have the opportunity to get some feedback in some points. The next thing is, a meeting is to make sure that you're all well informed. Especially in small business, we don't have a lot of time. We always get things happen. I know it happens to me too. We have a meeting planned. Oh no, this came up and that came up. Well, I've learned just in the last few weeks with a few of our clients, and this I've reflected on myself. I said, we've got to make sure that we make our meetings with our team members a priority. And we need to I'm going to give you some structures to work with them, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're able to meet, have a plan, have that experiment, but also make sure there's an acknowledgement and make sure there's transparency in the plans for the business. And the other thing is to make sure you have a bonding, because if you're all pushing in the same way and you come together with this meeting and you're acknowledging and there's a plan and you have an agenda, but actually have the possibilities of different things, and you know what? We've got six people, 3 people there, they've all got an opinion. So strongly recommend that you have a mindset about your meetings to make sure that there are a connection, and you go into as a little bit of an experiment, even though you might have an outcome that you want. So that's a reason that's a way of thinking about meetings. Big rock from there, make them important. It's as important as making a sales, as important of actually picking up the kids at school, because it's with human beings. So put that into place and say, well, okay, well, treat the meeting as like you would do with your doctor, because you can actually say, well, it's not important, we won't have that meeting. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you want to have that communication, that transparency, the ability to acknowledge? So here's just a throwaway to say, well, how am I going to make this important? Put it in your diary and just don't book anything else in, unless it's an emergency. Now, the next thing I want to cover in meetings is, where do you have your meetings? Now, this is a big rock. We could talk about it all day, but I'm going to suggest a few things. It depends on what the meeting's about. What's your meeting about? If it's a one-on-one, it's a little bit private, and as I spoke to you before with your one-on-ones, make sure it's 50% personal. They can have a bit of a chin wag, so there's open conversation if you know your people, and then 50% of their performance and how you can help them. But if that's going to be a little bit more private, you don't want to have everyone in the office listening to that. So pick your place where you're going to have your meeting. Now, if it's a deep meeting, it's like, say, a reprimand, well, you're not going to have it around where people can hear. You may say, oh, I'll close the door. No. Well, how's that person going to feel when they're walking out? To make sure that somewhere it's very, very private. Or it's going to be a meeting where it's going to be a team meeting. Well, it's going to be an open, there's going to be a little bit of ambience. And how many meetings have I been to where there's no ambience? Yeah, you go into the meeting. It's just dead. If people sit down, have a bit of a chin wag, or sitting there like this and so forth, and energy's low. And I'll give you some strategies to actually have a little bit of ambience, because if it's a meeting, to actually rev them up, yeah. And everyone walks in there with a poor body language, especially the team leader, grumpy face. Pick your energy. So where you're going to have that meeting. Now, here are some suggestions. If you've got a team meeting or you've got a sales meeting and so forth, and you've had a fantastic month, you might have a surprise meeting. I used to do these many years ago. I'm going to start doing them again. And we used to have a meeting at a place that was different. We used to go to a cafe or a restaurant and so forth. We had a really bumper month. Everything was great. Everything did a great job. It's like a little bit of a surprise. You don't tell everyone we just meet at somewhere, then we go somewhere. Maybe get a taxi. Maybe get a stretch limo to your meeting. Or you might actually just, have it in somewhere different in the club or in the business. Because if it's the same location all the time and it becomes same old, it's like just another meeting, and they always sit in the same spot and it's ordinary. Next thing is make sure that you have your meeting place clean and tidy. Yep. Wherever you are, even if it's a back room somewhere, go around and clean it, make sure it smells nice. Why? Because the atmosphere in the meeting is going to be reflective of the dialogue that's taking place and also the environment. Make sure it's clean and tidy. If it's a little bit hustle and bustle in the cafe, great. That's the sort of environment that you want to be in. If it's going to be sedate and so forth, make sure it's clean and tidy. I've been in many meetings where it's a little bit unorganized, and guess what? The meeting reflects that organization that's around the place. Make sure there's somewhere to sit. Now, I was actually in meetings when we sat on beanbags. That's fine, as long as there's somewhere to sit. Hello, Richard Tatunzi. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for popping on. Now, if we've got the meeting place in a place which could be maybe a surprise, it could be something with some ambience, and guess what? People start looking forward to your meetings. I would say it's about under 10% of people that I work with that look forward to their meetings. Some do, but most don't. That's because they're ordinary, they're not planned, and they go into an ambience which is ordinary, and guess what? Even if it's going to be a supposedly fun, the attitude of getting there is ordinary because they're usually not important. It's quite casual. I've been to other meetings though that really get this. They actually get here on time. They get in early. They bring up, they bring some food along, and they contribute to the meeting. Remember back in the olden days when I used to have a lot of businesses that we come together every single month, and we had our weekly sales meeting. But we started very early, and everybody was really excited about their meetings. They set the rules. Get here on time, at least 15 minutes. If you get here 1 minute after time, you get locked out of the meeting. Then you're allowed in a little bit of the 15-minute break. Then you're going to tell everyone why you're late and apologize. That weren't my rules. That's actually what the team did. And let me tell you right now, they used to get there early, used to bring a few little bits and pieces along, and it was like a little party. But every now and then people were late, and they actually made sure that they stayed out for a little while, let them back in, and then we got on with the meeting. Make sure that your meeting is a conversation and a communication hub. A conversation and a communication hub where there's happy and there's energy, there's serious, but also always finish your meeting off with something positive. And I'll give you some structures in a moment. Okay. Now, the big thing that's missing in a lot of meetings is the conversation and communication is usually, not always, but usually from the hip. Couple of things scribbled down on an agenda, off we go. Here's some suggestions that you might want to take on board as far as your preparation for your meeting. So firstly, you got a mindset. Yep, they're important. Making sure there's an ambience. Make sure you pick your place, the way you're going to do your meeting. If it's going to be something that's exciting and it's going to be, let's say, a celebration, great. We'll make sure it's celebrationary, so to speak. Make sure it's something that you like. Now, this is a big rock, and it's number 3. Agendas and minutes. Oh, how boring. How boring. Well, in your meeting, I strongly recommend that you actually send out an agenda and get some feedback at least a day or two beforehand. And, I used to usually set the agenda, and sometimes if I'm always doing it on my own, you get busy and you can't send it out beforehand. But I learned that it's always important to send it out beforehand, especially to your team leaders, and see if they want to contribute to the agenda. Yeah, the agenda has to be set, but also get some feedback, have some open forum at the bottom, and don't put too many things. I am notorious for putting far too much on a meeting agenda. I should just make sure it's short and sweet and make sure if there are other big rocks, the little rocks we talk about later. So the agenda should be set out beforehand. Secondly, when you actually send out the agenda, make sure that it's got spaces there for a time frame. Because I'm going to tell you later, if your meeting is going to be an hour and a half, make sure it finishes in an hour and a half. Make sure and you can go off track, but you have to have a chairman that actually runs the meeting. Here's another suggestion. Swap the chairman around and swap the scribes. A scribe should be taking down the actions in the meeting. What time is it going to be finished? What day? Who's going to do it? Write it down, send it out, so there's accountability at every meeting. Here's a big rock for you. Every time you have a meeting, there has to be accountability of the actions that took place before the other one. If it's a general meeting, it's once a month, fine. If it's a management meeting, which I'll go through in a moment, it's different. Sales meeting, always the same KPIs. So please, even if it's if it's a little 5-10 minute meeting, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a sit down 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours meeting, which really has an agenda, minutes, and outcomes. Now people say, oh yes, I do that. Well, if everyone did it, I must get them on the wrong day because it's rarely done, and it's very rarely that there is minutes done on the same day, if at all. Small and medium businesses actually don't do this, but when you get to big corporations, they always do it. So I suggest that you set an agenda. Make sure on your sheet, it's a template, have your agenda, maybe put a little time frame. That's sometimes tough, but also have a spot where you can write down what's the action and what's the date. Just create a template, give it to your scribe, good to go. They could type it, sent off straight away after the meeting. You can write it, then type it. It's completely up to you. Agendas and minutes are critical. The minutes should be actually done for the next 5 to 10 minutes of the meeting when you turn up next time. Let's review the minutes. So let's tick the things off. If it didn't get done, okay, why not? We'll talk about it later. What's going to be the new date? Hand it over to somebody else. Guys, if you don't inspect it, it won't get done. And by the way, if it's been done, you say, great, that was done the very next day. That's time for acknowledgement. Superstar. Also, when it comes down to the timing of your meeting, make sure that you try very hard to actually have the meeting finish on time. If you are going to go over time and so forth, please say, look, we're going to go 10 minutes, everyone okay with that? Because if you respect their time, they're going to respect yours. Now, this is not usual because a lot of there's some behavioral styles that don't like to do this sort of thing. I get that. Less is best. Keep the meetings brief. Make sure they're to point. Make sure there's an outcome with every single conversation you have. Guys, if you're going to have something thrown out there, well, maybe there's not a definitive outcome, but what's the next step? Have it set. A meeting is not a time to just have an opinion. I think this is terrible. I think this is great, and move on. You can actually have a talk about that in the corridor. Meeting should be outcome-based. It's also for acknowledgement. So agendas and minutes are something that I would suggest that most meetings need to work on. And the big rocks are coming up now. With your management meeting, I've actually created a sheet for you. Another one of my sheets. It's a 14-step management meeting. A management meeting is about your team leaders, and the team leaders come together. They discuss marketing, they discuss results, they discuss customer care, they discuss staff, lots of different things. So when you have that meeting, and by the way, this is one meeting that doesn't happen as regularly because they do it on the fly. Yeah. A management meeting sometimes should take anywhere between 1 hour to 1.5 hours, and I would suggest it would be done weekly. I know some do fortnightly. Big mistake, quarterly. Team meeting, quarterly. Maybe monthly. Quarterly? Are you serious? No, these management meetings are critical. Now, if you've only got a little team, there's going to be a senior. There's going to be a senior. There's going to be someone that's got your back. What happens if you're sick, if you're the owner? What if you're the sales manager? What if you're the sales manager? What if you're crook? Who's going to be stepping in? And this is a little, by the way, what's your succession planning looking like? What if someone gets sick, gets diabetes, breaks her leg? What's the succession plan? So involve people that would maybe be in that succession plan. So here, let's just go through some of the steps. Firstly, in a management meeting, strongly recommend it's always in a secure location. Yep. You don't want people barging in on a management meeting, and make sure that people know to knock on the door. And if it's a meeting, put a sign up there, meeting in place, will be finished by 4 o'clock. Put it on the front, on the door, so people don't go and knocking on the door, especially if it's a management meeting. You know, you talk about a lot of things that are private and it's part of the business, and maybe not for everyone's ears. Strongly recommended. Next thing is set an agenda and send it out, especially for this management meeting, because these are managers and seniors. You want their input. This is a number one mistake that doesn't take place, especially with a small business. They go, this is the meeting and so forth. But if someone's going to be a senior or second in charge, please get them to have input. Okay, that's number 2. The next one is change your chairman of the managers meeting in particular. You know, the CEO, the manager can sometimes usually always be running the show. Guys, empower them to actually run the meeting, and you're going to be part of it, but sit back. What's going to happen when you're having your 1-month holiday? Maybe a 2-month holiday. They're going to be running those meetings. Teach them how to run the meetings. Okay. Once you actually get this thing in your head, strongly recommend that you actually do a mini training before the meeting, when the meeting starts. So you get the chairman organized. Don't start the meeting with your agenda. On the agenda needs to be some training on leadership or management process. It could be an audio. It could be a little video for about 10 minutes. It could be a book you're all reading and say, hey, I mean, isn't it funny when I go to management meetings, I say, who here has read the 1 Minute Manager? And everyone goes, oh, I've heard of it. That's the first place to start. Really easy book. There's lots of little 1 minutes. It's just a really easy, and it's still very applicable. It's very simple. There's not a lot of management and leadership training in small business. Read that little book, 1 Minute Manager. Blanchard, fantastic. And read it 2 or 3 times. Then read the 1 Minute Manager with the monkey, where you get upward delegated to. It's really easy stuff, but it's absolute gold, absolute gold. So I suggest in your management meeting, never just go straight into training, into the meeting, go in to do a little bit of training, just 15 minutes. And let's say 10 or 15 minutes, and you have 5 minutes diagnostic. I'll say, what did you learn? What are you going to do? What are you going to action from that? What I used to do is I used to get people to read books. And I say, all right, we're going to go through a little book. Let's read to chapter 1 to 5 by next week or by the next meeting. Let's say 6 chapters. I said, and we're going to ask you all to give us a summary of certain chapters. We should do that with other team members too. So that means that what chapter was done, but what did you get from chapter 5? What did you get from chapter 3? And they just give you the juice. It's just accountability. It's not to catch them out, just get them excited. Now, because of all the audio books now, this is even better. So I suggest, and by the way, it's not always management books. I suggest that you maybe put some personal development things in there too. Yeah, work hard on yourself than you do on your job, and you're going to have some drive in place. So what did you learn from that book, or what did you learn from that audio? Strongly recommend that's a part of your meeting from the beginning. Okay, let's rock and roll. Next thing is we always start with highlights. After the training, what are the highlights of your week? What was magnificent? What was wonderful? And let them say, this was great, that was great. Wow, what was good at home? And just a little bit of 2 minutes of highlights. What's that going to do? It's going to get in thinking good stuff, because everyone has all the negative in our head. Get the meeting and training, a little bit of a highlight. What do we do? Great. And now you're ready to get into the minutes. So now you've got a positive thought pattern. Hopefully they've walked into the room, a little bit of ambience, a cup of coffee there, and maybe some refreshments on the table. Have the agenda all printed out. You're the managers. You're important. Make sure that you're treated as important as they are and as you are. Now we've got the minutes. They would have been sent out. We're going to tick them off. Different chairperson. You might be the chairperson. Easy peasy. Huh? Okay. Now we go to the next one. As a manager, we'll always have budgets and targets, whether it's the business as a whole, or it could be your sales manager, talk about sales, or you got your operations managers. We have, accountability. We have reception. We have the cleaners. Get a report done. Quickie, what's happening? Where are we at with that? A report. It's just a black and white. And I love a black and white report. It's not no, give me reasons. No, just give me the numbers, or give me the things that have happened. Right? Now, it's called a black and white report. What has happened? I don't want all the story that goes with it. We could have the story later. Black and white. Was that done? Yes. Was that done? No. Okay. When will it get done? Friday. Good. I don't say, why wasn't it done? That's for later if you want to do that. You just want the outcomes. Remember, and just keeping it really simple. No grumpy face, or you're never going to get people excited with a grumpy, and don't just make it flippant. Well, that's important. We get that done. Well, when we're going to get? See, you can't change yesterday. You can't change yesterday, so let it go. Find out the reasons later. You just want the outcome. We want to make sure that doesn't happen again, so we just make sure that tomorrow's a bit better. Please try to keep that mindset that we can't change yesterday. We just learn from yesterday. We can actually kick some goals tomorrow, especially in your management meetings, because they're your leaders. They're your leaders. You're the leader. Oh, you did this last month. You didn't do that 3 weeks ago. Who cares? I just make sure you do it now. Yeah. All right. Next one. Items. Now, items need to be staff, cleanliness, let's say client feedback, and have a reception. There should be parts that you're going to have a conversation. When it says cleaning, is it clean? Okay, is it clean? Does it smell good? Yeah. Does it smell good? Is everybody clean? Are the uniforms looking good? Yeah. A lot of people don't do that. They just do KPIs and sales. What's the environment like if you had that type of business? What's the attitude like with the staff? How are we nurturing the staff? What have you done to make them feel special? Managers. Have they given you any feedback? It's things to think about. And if they're not doing anything with the staff, great. We'll actually have we'll chat about a couple of ideas later. Then you'll actually have a 10-minute conversation later. So that's an outcome. No, I haven't. Okay, we need to do something about it. We'll have it done by Tuesday. Okay, put it on the agenda. We'll nail that by Tuesday. Good, thanks for the feedback. Okay, next thing is we want to make sure that in your management meetings, and this is quite critical, is making sure that you have a plan for your next marketing. Start talking about your next marketing at the beginning of the month. Not the month, not your marketing now, but what's your next month's plan? Get the people thinking about it. And say, oh, what are we going to do next? I'm going to talk about your marketing launch in a moment. We want to make sure that you talk about events that are coming up. What's the organization? Always have a checklist. Bring it to the meeting. What's been done? What needs to be completed? When will that be completed? We'll put it on the agenda. It's a very simple process, but a lot of people don't bring those things to management meetings, which means that there's low accountability because they say, I'll just get it done. No, make it accountable. When you start putting that culture into your business, I can assure you, everyone does everything with a smile and they are proud of what they do. You want to have people proud of completion and make a big deal about it. That is outstanding. That's done by Friday. How did you do that? Well done, Bob. Okay, you've done it. Good, next. You're expected to send your job spec. No. This is what you do at your management meetings. Okay, next thing is confirm your sales strategy, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to come to that in a moment. What's your sales strategy? Confirm your sales strategy. Confirm your closing strategy that the managers know. Yep, they don't actually have to do it in the field, but your managers need to know what's happening. Now, here's a big rock. Managers, CEOs, if you're expecting your team to do it, you're going to inspect what you expect. If you don't know how to do it, now this is the time for you to role play with each other. Even though you're not superstars, it could be a bit clunky. As long as you're going through the process, you can then pick it up later. Yeah. Yep. If you don't make sales, you haven't got a business. You need to know what's going on. Don't say, oh, he does the sales. I don't like sales. No. You need to know what's going on. You don't have to be perfect at it, but make sure you do your role play. Yeah. And that's why you do it in your manager's meeting. You don't do it in front of the other guys if you feel that you're not up to speed. And if you're very good at it, go for your life. And a lot of people don't do that. I've actually had CEOs sit in training, boot camps for 3 days, CEOs, to get better at sales and say, I'm not that great at this, and they just nail it. And you know what? It was so inspiring. I took a photo, whacked it on Facebook, and everyone in the organization around Australia goes, oh my God, there's the CEO role-playing. What a legend. Gives me goosebumps. This guy's a superstar. And, when it comes down to people that walk their talk, Greg Hurst is the man. Always participated 100%. What are you going to do to make sure you're on the same wavelength? Remember, it's got to be in a time frame, and you make sure you know what's happening. The next thing is make sure that you know from your training agenda what needs to be improved on and what needs to be left out. For instance, from your KPIs, you'll actually be able to plan your training with your team. Reception, cleaning, sales, marketing. And this is where the managers need to be able to dissect the KPIs that we've been talking about. Last couple of things is at the end of your meeting, make sure that you talk about incentives for your management team, but also some incentive and rewards for your crew. What are some of the things to really say thank you to our team if we overachieve? And we don't go say, if you do this, you'll get that. Just give them a surprise if they're overachieving. If you want to give them a rev up, it could be an incentive. And last but not least, in the management team, we need to take time to say, well done. And if you're not the general manager and you're second in charge, you're in the part of the management team, as the CEOs, they should allow their team members to say well done to them too. It's not done very regularly. You should all say, hey, what's one thing that Bob's really done well? He did this great, and go around the room. Management meetings are done, usually they either go too long or they're left out. So that's I've got a cheat sheet there for you. If you'd like me to put it in I don't know if I put all those things in there. At the end of the day, I'll see what I can do. Oh, we got there, Kaysa. How you going? And Heather. How you going, Heather? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now monthly marketing launch. This is a big faux pas when it comes down to the meetings agenda. I'm regularly talking to team owners, CEOs, sales managers, and it's all about the marketing, isn't it? So leads, create leads. Well, first thing is your marketing launch. Here's a marketing launch. It's just 10 steps. It's really easy. But get excited about your marketing launch. Get excited about it. Because everyone needs to be really revved up to have a fantastic month. And it should be not just about new sales, but also things within inside the business, and also things that could be outside some events and so forth. Recommendation that you do your marketing launch at least 4 to 5 days before the end of the month, not the last 2 or 3 days, because sometimes people do closeouts and stuff like that. But do your marketing launch at least 4 or 5 days out, and everyone comes together. Some people say, they can't get together. We got casual staff. Hey guys, it's a meeting. It's in the job description. You attend meetings. If you can't attend our meetings, don't join the team. Remember, we talked about job descriptions before. You've got to set the expectation early. Okay, let's go. Prepare it beforehand. Prepare. Ready? Next thing, prepare handouts. For your marketing, have handouts. Have the pictures, have the Facebook posts, have the copy, and show them what's going on. I've been to businesses where people had no idea what was the marketing was taking place. None. They go, what's that? Why is that voucher for? And it was a complete mess. That was awesome marketing ideas. And a lot of money spent on advertising. No communication. No meeting. And they expect everyone to know via osmosis. Oh, they've done it before. They've done it before. No way. You've got to do your marketing launch. Guys, if you don't do it now, please start. If you do it, super good. Super good. Okay, next thing. Handouts, strategy. Next thing is you want to make sure you inform everyone where the marketing is. Where is it? It's on a billboard. It's a flyer. It's on Facebook. It's on Instagram. It's on the website. We've got a squeeze page going out there. This is what it looks like. Here's the video. Where is it going to be? What's the call to action if there is one? What's the message? Why we have that message? Get them excited about it and say, hey, okay, good to go. Next thing is very important. Get all that social, print and emails and EDMs. Show them what you're sending out. If you've got a lost leader promotion, show them what it is. Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? What is it? What's the call to action? Okay, next thing is the sales strategy. This is what's missing a lot of the time. There's no sales strategy. I had a business hour. We always do it this way. Yeah, okay, tell me the sales strategy. And I had no idea what it was. Okay, well, the next thing is, What are the tools you're using? What are the prompts you're going to use in that marketing strategy? Oh, yes. This is a document, ladies and gentlemen. It's a document that's handed out to your team with all the bits and pieces. Yeah. And it's done on a PowerPoint. It's actually have music, and it should be and then you have your targets. This is what we're going to do for the leads. We're going to keep a close eye on that, guys. And we want to make this many sales, and we're going to get the referral thing happening. And boy, we're going to have a big celebration. It takes a lot of time and money to actually create the marketing. Get excited about it. Okay, next one, big one. What are the sweeteners? What's the price presentation? Oh, I go into marketing, look at the marketing. I say, what's the price presentation? If there's a call to action, or there's a cash in, or there's an extra add-on. I say, show me a price presentation. And it's ordinary, guys. It's ordinary. What's the sell strategy? What's the cash in? If there is one, there's an add-on. Could be a flat close. It could be a quality guarantee. Who knows? And then when you tell them, you train it. Yep. In the marketing launch, you have a role play. Yeah. You're going to use the tools. You don't say, these are the tools, go get them, tiger. You use it. Okay, here's the price presentation, whatever it may be. And then you're going to do it. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 2 more times, good to go. Take you about 15 minutes. Now everyone knows the price presentation. They know what the closing strategy is, because it's no good having an awesome marketing idea with tons of leads and no one knows the sales strategy and most people can't close. That's what happens. And I'm not saying it's your business, but this is what my experience is all around the world. You'll still make a lot of money if you do it. I actually go in for a full day in businesses, and we go through the strategy for the marketing. We go through what's the next 2 months, internal, external, reactivation, let's say itching cycle, whatever it may be, upsell or cross sell. Okay, what's the sales strategy? Wrap it out. Let's go through the closing strategy. Oof. We then got to go and bullet it up. Then we'll role play it. Oh, and it's clunky. Then after around about 6 or 7, it gets better. Let them have lunch, come back, type it out, good to go, ready for launch. You say, that's a lot of work. It is. But if you don't do it, you're not going to get a great result. Okay, lucky last. Make sure there are role plays and they're fun. Role plays that people can't do are not fun. So teach them properly, and they're like a mini workshop. That's one of the reasons some of the times we go in there and do the training first so the managers can do them. And sometimes I run that part of it. But make sure that the role plays are fun, okay? Now, in a marketing, no one can complain about the marketing. That's not allowed. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that word. She looks terrible. No. It's not a complaint time. It's done and dusted. It's actually done, and that's a rule. If you don't like it, come and talk to me later. We can get your feedback. I appreciate it. But it's not brought up. You don't want to say, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that close-in strategy, because you should have already had that conversation with your team leaders before your launch. Yes. Remember I said that earlier? In your management meeting, you'll discuss your marketing, your closing strategy, your sales strategy. So when you do it in the launch, you're going to get no pushback from your leaders. Make sense? Strategize. Hope we're all on the same page. Give me some thumbs and we're all good to go. I'm going to wrap up shortly. So all good? Give us some love. Yeah? Come on. No one all falling asleep? No more questions there? Okay, a few people there. All right. Oh, we've got life. Woo! Okay. I'll put that up there if you want. So just give me a thumbs up that you want that, and I'll put it in there. Everyone's a little different, it's a different type of business, but it goes whether it's a big corporation or small, it's the same thing. Oh, yeah, legends. Okay, we're getting to the end. All right. We do a lot of training in sales and communication and modeling, but we do a lot of stuff in making sure strategy is right too. I got sometimes the staff are all good to go. We just go in there and do full strategies. Thanks, guys. Gets me all pumped up, ready to rock and roll. We'll go for another hour. Sales meetings are usually boring. It's just a slap and bash, and they're usually just ad hoc. Wow. I think they should be really exciting. You know how we talked about the launch? Yeah. Well, that's going to be a weekly meeting to have a look up and say, that is my scorecard and we're good to go. So here's the way to run, one way. There's millions of ways, but here's a strategy that I know is very easy to do, and you might take some of this on board. By the way, that's why I put these sheets together, so you can recap it later. If you just did half of what we're talking about, you kick some goals. Firstly, make your meetings professional, but also make them fun. Professional, arrive on time, be dressed for a meeting. I have people say, oh, it's my day off. Okay. Well, don't come in your pajamas. Yeah, I'll come in my meeting. I'll come to the meeting, but I'll be going to the beach. No, this is my rules. This is the business rules. It's in your protocol. You turn up ready for stuff. Or you can't come to the meeting, it's your day off. If you want to come to the meeting, come dressed. That would be a rule. That's not saying that you should do that. That's what I would do. If it's going to be a casual meeting, great. Board shorts Friday, let's rock and roll. Set the theme. Make them fun. Next thing is, make sure you know where the meeting is going to be held. It's going to be a surprise. You go into a little yucky cafe. They go, what's going on here? Then the stretch limo turns up. After you go to a lovely place near the beach, you go, yippee. That becomes memorable. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You said, oh, it's a big meeting this week of 2 hours. You go, oh, my God, we're going to get bashed. You get a little crummy cafe. So, oh, we had a great month. And then the stretch limo turns up. I did that once. We went down to the bathers. Everyone was like, oh, my God, we're going to get into trouble. We had such a great time. But we finished bang on time. We went back to the office. All right, next thing is prepare the room. If it's in your office, suggest no one walks into a meeting that hasn't got music going. Yeah, a little bit of ambience. So they walk into a meeting with energy. We're all energy, aren't we? We're all energy. Go into a meeting with energy. Have your pens handy. Don't say, you got a pen? I haven't got a pen. If you haven't got a stereo, then put your little iPhone on there. Put a little speaker in there. Create the energy, guys. Create the energy. Have drink, water. Yeah, it's early, late, doesn't matter. And have pens, have paper. Have your agendas all done, sent out beforehand, as we said earlier. Same for the sales meeting. Next thing is start on time. 8 o'clock, boom. 6 o'clock in the morning, boom, you start. I've started meetings with no one in the room. Yeah, it's true. You just shut the door. Started talking. People go, I waited for 10 minutes and then we let them in. Oh, sorry, we're late. I said, oh, yeah, sorry, I've just started the meeting. Could you tell everyone why you're late? Oh, with a smile on my face. They said, no one's here. I said, well, I was talking to the chairs. May as well tell them. Start on time. Respect your time. People will start to respect it. Finish on time. Finish on time. Try your very best. Look, I haven't covered half the agenda. I've got to go. We'll just do the big rocks. Off you go. Now, I'm notorious for going over time on meetings. Got to make sure I really rock and roll this. So I actually start to peel them back. Make sure it's a time frame, and make them important. Next thing is minutes, as we did. Tasks and outcomes. Have you done them? By the way, just as a by the way, please don't leave a task to the very last minute because you know Bob's not going to get it done, and then ask him about the task to make him fail. If the person is struggling as a leader, as a manager, I would suggest that you check in on that person to make sure they don't fail. That's great leadership. Okay, it's just as by the way. I say, oh, he won't do it. You leave it right to Friday. I said, yeah, I knew he wouldn't do it. Guys, if you believe that person is stupid or not good, he will become not good or stupid in your mind, and he will fail if you are a leader. Okay, next thing is make sure that you reinforce your budgets and targets. This is not done in a lot of meetings. You got to reinforce what is the target, what is the budget. The budget should never be talked about in a meeting. The budget's in your head. The target's what they should be going through. Reassess every week. How are we going with our leads? How are we going with our budget? No, our target. What are we going to do? How many leads we got to do? How many appointments? And then readjust. You've got to be taught. Budget is a given. You know, target is king or queen, but budget has to be made, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you push your targets and don't talk about your budgets, but keep talking about them. They might be well and truly behind. Say, what can we do to improve this? Because what you inspect, you'll get. Don't inspect it, don't expect it. That's why we've been doing the KPIs before we did this. All right, hope that's helping. All right, here we go. Review the week and the outcomes of what the plan is for next week and get it set out and get it put in the minutes. What are you going to do, Steve? What are you going to do, Jane? I'm going to do this, right? Put that in the minutes. We'll actually measure it next week. And if you make it measurable and accountable, ladies and gentlemen, I can promise you it will happen. You say, how are you going to do that? Don't let them tell you something out of the blue without asking, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? What does that look like? What does that look like? How's that work? I don't know. Or how are you going to get that done? I'm not quite sure, but I'll find a way. Good. I'd like to know how you're going to do that by tomorrow. Because if we're not just going to throw out a silly number. We want to make sure it's feasible and you can actually achieve that. So we need to, how about we take 2 minutes out of the next agenda and actually talk about that now? Someone comes up with something completely left field and you have no idea, then call another conversation for a 10-minute chit chat to find out how it works. Do not let, let's say, broad brush conversation go unnoticed. A lot of meetings become very non-specific. I'll get it done. When? Next week. When? Wednesday. What time? Oh, come on, Steve. No, what time? Put it in the minutes. Do not wait till Wednesday to find it's wrong. Check in on Monday. He's all right for Wednesday. See, you need some help. Okay. Next thing is, in a sales meeting, always have goals and rewards. Oh, yes. Bobby did actually 25 phone calls. My goodness. Well done. Acknowledgement. Gee whiz. But gee whiz, Mary is 100% over budget. You might give her a little Frobber Rochers or something like that. What we used to do is actually have the team actually pick their person of the week from the whole team of in the business. They used to give them gold stars. But in the team, as far as the sales, is based on performance, based on job description. Not that they're just a really nice girl or nice guy. It's about what they do. Please write that down. It's what they've done. It's based on the percentages and the outcomes. They're all nice people, guys. Yeah, but reward it. Don't let it go unnoticed. If they've done a great job, their follow-up files up to date. They've got all their things done. They've actually done a phenomenal job in prospecting, whatever it may be. They've got some big rocks on them ready to pop. In let's say the gestation periods come up. Acknowledge it. Positive reinforcements gets it again. Okay, I think the next one is something that's dear to my heart. When you do well done's, like we said before, what was your magic moment for the week? I call it magic moments with the salespeople, not just the highlight. That's for the managers. Magic moment. What was your magic moment for the week, guys, at work? And what was it at home? What was your magic moment? Oh, yes. When you ask them about a magic moment, they go, oh, this was great. And all of a sudden, this is the end of the meeting. You've done your KPIs, you got your driving, all the bits and pieces. No gripes, no grumpy. Grumpy, go home. No grumpy in the sales meeting. No, there's no grumpy. If you want to have a bit of a grumpy, you come in and we'll have a closed door grumpy. Grumpy, go home. All right. Now, what was your magic moment? And let them tell you. Put the smile on the dial. And say, right, we're ready to kick some goals. We're going to do the damage, right? You're going to go. And we get them all to say, yep, yep. I say, all right. Get them to be a little bit vocal. They're salespeople, guys. You might say, oh, that's not me. Step outside the box. Lucky last is always have an opportunity to present something for good performance. A certificate, something. Remember we talked about what people like to be acknowledged with? Okay, well, we're coming to the end of our day or night. Lucky last is what action are you going to take? With any meeting, there has to be an outcome. Every single conversation, everything on your agenda has to have an outcome. Done, completed, mini meeting afterwards. Meetings for meetings is not what you want. You want meeting and then have clarity. Go into the meeting as an experiment, see what comes out of it. You might get a better idea that you have ever even thought of. Change the leader, the chairman, change the scribe, get those minutes out. Next thing is, with meetings, look for where people need training. Yeah, some people may be struggling in certain areas and maybe you don't have the skill sets. And maybe they need to go to do a little online course. They maybe need to get some extra training. Maybe when they do their sales training, they'll tell us to say, do this. You'll get that feedback from your salespeople. Look at the things that aren't working. Don't just say you got to do more. There may be a skill set they need to help. You might be able to train them yourself. Get in a bit early and do the role play. And make sure that you have a plan to kick some goals. Have a plan that's actually for the business and for the individual. Always reinforce the KPIs, individual. KPIs, individual. Disneyland, new car, fishing trip, new pair of shoes. Well, sorry I started a few minutes late. I hope that resonated with you. Lots of stuff to go through, but it's pretty easy. That's why I put the little bullets together. I will put it in the files for you to take up later. Okay, so I'm going to be putting a little link into Mr. Stevie Brosman's video training. Pop on there, he's outstanding, and have a bit of a look at what he does. You know, there'll be some nuggets from there. I'll put it in there, and as I said, enjoy. It's in the evening, so I'm sure there'll be a replay if you log in. So we got Dr. J at 7 a.m. at the Breakfast Club. Now we had about 10, 15, 20 people on today. I want to try to get 50 people on board. And guys, I want to grow our group to a big group of about 500 or so of thought leaders that are going to help communicate with each other. Now, some of you are communicating with each other. I love it. I really want to get this community talking and helping each other. I've got lots of things I can give you and show you, but I can assure you we have more riches in the group than you know. Reach out, show us some stuff, some of your nuggets that you're doing well, and please try to connect. I want to try to create this, not just a little Australian. We're actually starting at international flavor. It's going to start taking a lot more people, and referral is obviously the best. Doesn't cost them anything, and we're going to have lots of guests and so forth. I need your help. So if you'd help me get there, by the way, if you're going to ask your friends to join, please ask them to answer the questions so I can know how I can help them, so I can get the right thought leaders. But I'm going to have at least 4 to 5 thought leaders popping in once a month to give you some nuggets. Also got a new program that I'm putting together, and I'm going to ask for your feedback. Going to put a beta program together. It's nearly done, so I'll ask for your feedback. All right. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to stick on for a little bit on if you like, so we can, if you've got any questions. If not, I'll just make sure that I don't make the mistake last time. If you've got any questions, let me know. And I can, black patent shoes, mate, you should have lots of black patent shoes. They're very good. Oh dear. So if you've got a question or two, I'm happy to stick on for another minute or two. Anybody there? If not, okay, probably got the movie to watch. Great, thanks for joining me this evening. And as always, please share and contribute to everybody, and help each other. And let's build our tribe to 500. I want 1,000 by June. So I hope you can help me. And let's make a difference out there. Do the damage. Rattle those cages. Step outside the box. And I'll see you on Saturday morning. And have a great week. Bye for now.